And there he is, just like a virgin spying on the dream waifu of his. If you see that person there, it's our protagonist, Rito. He has been trying to confess his love to his waifu for over 2 years, but his failures are not due to rejection, but simply because he has the worst luck censoring this and all other profanity. You see, in every attempt at dating, something unexpected happens, balls to the face, a car runs him over, and even a spaceship falls on him. What? To make matters worse, they create a nasty rumor suggesting that the protagonist was fooling around with another guy. Nah, just kidding. Apparently someone had messed up the school's flowers, so they thought it was a troublemaker, and everyone accused him. Although dear Haruna was the only one who refused to believe that the protagonist had damaged the flowers. The thing is, when the guy is at home, he talks to his friend to tell him about the tremendous fail he had that day. Like any soulmate friend, he makes fun of him and tells him that he will end up being a virgin for the rest of his life. So, while in the bathroom, thinking dirty thoughts and with the intention of giving the snake a good stroking, a huge explosion occurs in his bathtub and a tremendous beauty appears. Damn, what technique did she use? I'm interested to know, okay? Just kidding. Rito goes crazy and looks for his sister to show her the tremendous knockers that the waifu has. But when they get to the bathroom, the waifu had disappeared. After thinking it was just his lustful imagination, he heads to his room, and upon entering, he hears her say, "I was waiting for you here, daddy." Oh no, dude, I want to live that dream, seriously. She introduces herself as Lala, an alien from the planet Devluk. Her stay on Earth was because she was escaping from some pursuers, but as she used a device that teleports her randomly, she ended up in the protagonist's bathtub completely naked. At that moment, a little robot that she designed appears. The little guy tells her that everything was in order and that they had escaped from the pursuers. The cheerful waifu removes her towel and puts on a special suit designed by her robot. Suit that honestly makes any virgin's heart race. But the peace they had is shattered when a couple of goons appear. The robot had been stupid and let himself be followed by these guys. Since she couldn't escape again, she tries to defend herself. Rito didn't know what the hell was happening in his room, but like any guy, he can't let a waifu be kidnapped before his eyes, so he hits the guy with a huge ball and escapes with her over the rooftops, arriving at a park where they are surrounded. This guy in a spaceship appears, asking Miss Lala to please return to her home. What, really? If all this escape was simply because Lala was rebellious and didn't want to fulfill her role as the successor to the throne or whatever her plan was on her home planet. Since the guys couldn't leave without her, they try to capture her, but the waifu pulls out a tremendous vacuum cleaner, which causes a huge explosion in the middle of the park. It all seemed like a dream to Rito, but as he walked to class, Haruna stopped him because she had seen him with a girl the night before. That's when the protagonist decides to declare his love once and for all, but when he says the big phrase, he opens his eyes and boom, a pair of waifu boobs are right in front of him, which she accepts his feelings and promises that they are going to get married. If you want to know the name of this anime, it will appear down here during the video, so leave a comment with the exact minute it shows up so that a tremendous alien girl appears in your bathroom. After a long day, when he wakes up, he finds himself next to a stunning person. The lovely Lala, completely naked, was ready to please her fiancé. Rito, feeling embarrassed, doesn't know what to do in this passionate moment. However, when his sister enters the room, she is shocked because her little brother had finally stopped being so inexperienced. Lala, after putting on her alluring outfit, tells him that she did some research and found out that it's very common for fiancés to live and sleep together. Rito tries to tell her that it's not something they should do because what happened yesterday was an accident. She becomes a little sad, to which he can't resist such tenderness and apologizes for treating her that way. Suddenly, the person from last night enters through the window. It turns out that Zastin is the right-hand person of the Devluk king. He tells the protagonist that this engagement is legitimate and nothing was a mistake because he followed all the necessary steps to marry Miss Lala. But when did he meet the requirements? It turns out all of that happened on the same day she arrived and he laid his hands on her chest. That was considered a very important sign of affection towards her, so any misunderstanding or that it was simply an accident is not valid. Plus, if he denies being in love with her and claims he simply touched her out of desire, his planet would be destroyed instantly, not to mention starting an interstellar conflict. Yes, folks, touching a good plot can cause a huge controversy. Feeling somewhat downcast and confused, he goes to school where dear Haruna ignores him all day long. While he waits for her to come out of the changing rooms to talk, he hears a commotion in the hallways. All the people had their emotions going wild because Lala, in her alluring outfit, was looking for her fiancé. When they meet, she hugs him tightly and presses herself against him, which enrages the students who want to confront the protagonist for no reason. After running like crazy and getting trapped, Lala uses uses her teleportation device, taking them to a random place in the school, the girls' locker room, where the two of them end up without clothes because the device can only teleport living matter. The eventful day finally comes to an end, but when he gets home, he finds Zaston having coffee with his family. His sister already knew everything that was going on, so Rito, very determined, asks Zaston privately if there is a way Tio cancel the engagement. And well, since the person is a bit of adult, he reveals the secret, and the secret to canceling said engagement is touching and squeezing Lala's chest. How delightful. I mean, how unfortunate he'll have to handle this plot twist, Imhotep's face from The Mummy. But he has to do it within a 48-hour window, something that seemed easy, but it turned out to be difficult because his bad luck was with him every step of the way. Even when he was sleeping with her, he ended up grabbing the fluffy robot's head by mistake. With only 1 hour left, he invites her to talk alone, determined to tell her he has Tio touch the fluffy things. But before that, she thanks him. What? Yes, she thanks him for helping and listening to her because on her home planet, they are always trying to find her a fiancé, which she dislikes because none of them are her type. That's why she ran away, to be free and choose the person she likes. Those words and that beautiful look make it impossible for Rito to cancel the engagement. Well, at least now he has a lovely companion to look forward to. But the heated moments weren't just going to happen at home. It turns out that Lala managed to enroll in the same high school the protagonist attends. The guys in the class go crazy, and Rito has to take her to the rooftop to figure out how the heck she got in, and well, it was really quite simple. She simply spoke to the principal and said, "Look at my potential as a student," and the old man accepted. Rito quickly sets some school rules for her. She shouldn't draw too much attention and has to keep the fact that she's an alien a secret. Yes, of course, with that huge tail of hers, she'll blend in perfectly. However, despite her efforts to be as normal as possible, she excels in everything. She draws amazing artwork, nearly knocks out the referee during sports, so once again, Rito gets into a huge mess trying to cover for her. The thing is, in the hallway, she bumps into Haruna, the quirky girl who invites him for a private talk. Tio have a huge conversation in which silence is the most abundant element. Filled with courage and determination, Rito wants Tio clear up that it was all a misunderstanding, but Haruna ends up mentioning that Lala and him look really good together. Those painful words leave our protagonist stone-faced. But well, since his sister saw him down and Lala didn't understand why, they decide to go out for a walk so Lala can explore the city. Obviously, her outfit was very attention-grabbing, so with Peek's help, they scan different clothes to find a perfect one to make her blend in. But this is where the problems start. As they scan so much clothing, the robot runs out of energy, so the designed clothes she's wearing start to disintegrate. Before she ends up naked, they take her to a clothing store, where Haruna once again sees the two of them together. But wait, thanks to his sister, she explains that Lala comes from abroad. That's why she's always with Rito, because he's taking care of her. So the four of them go to an aquarium where a romantic moment seems to be unfolding for these two. Haruna was literally blushing and had the intention of telling him something important. But for some strange reason, Lala ends up naked on top of a shark. How lucky, I mean, seriously, what terrible luck the protagonist has, or perhaps how great his luck is. After the aquatic embarrassment, everyone returns to their homes, although the protagonist feels happy because he managed to patch things up with Haruna, or at least that's what it seems. Days went by, and Rito was worried because if he becomes the king of Deviluke, he would have to participate in galactic wars, in which he wouldn't survive even a second. 1, because he's a Earthling, 2, because he's a Virgo, 3, because he's a dumbass. Instead of supporting him, Zaston makes it clear that he's a dumbass who will bite the dust in the first confrontation. But well, being at home while everyone eats and enjoys the delicious dishes his sister makes, Lala tries to make a special dish from her planet, but I don't think that dish is edible. The protagonist sacrifices himself for the team, and when he tastes the jelly, he starts walking towards Karen's ship, but in that terrible dream, he's awakened by Haru, making his soul return to his body once again. There, the dumbass takes advantage of that opportunity to mention that he won't marry a woman who can't cook because he wants the love of his life to be an amazing cook for him. If Lala can't do that, she should go back to her planet. Okay, I think he went a bit too far, to be honest. Lala leaves the planet crying, and Rito's life could be said to return to normal, right? Let me tell you, it didn't. He had gotten so used to waking up with a tremendous mess on his face that he started to miss dear Lala. But to everyone's surprise, the blonde girl arrives in the middle of class and takes him to the culinary classroom. She had prepared a special machine to gather the best ingredients from the galaxy just for him. She also tells him that he doesn't need to go fight for Deviluk. By marrying her, he can continue to live on Earth just as they are now. So once the guy calms down, he sits down to watch the amazing tale his waifu is carrying while she visually delights him with her apron. However, things get messy when Haruna arrives and Lala's ingredients unleash themselves, appearing a giant squid, an octopus, and a lobster. People, if there are tentacles, you know things are about to get kinky. Zaston arrives to protect his princess, but he does absolutely nothing. The school begins to be destroyed, and I imagine that in the end, everyone meets their maker, Akno. Alright, now a new student returns. She's the most beautiful in the school, or well, she was until Lala appeared. Realizing that her beauty wasn't powerful enough to captivate men, she challenged Lala to a duel, but Lala forgets about the duel, leaving the blonde waiting. As Lala doesn't show up, she sends her lackeys to capture the protagonist so she can publicly declare that if he doesn't appear within the next 5 seconds, he will be punished on his big forehead. Damn, I want to be punished that way too. To everyone's surprise, Lala does appear, but she's chasing her guard dog, which without warning devours the blonde's swimsuit, leaving her naked and embarrassed in front of everyone. Obviously, this wouldn't end there, so they chase after them to uncover the great secret Lala is hiding. Many traps are activated in the courtyard of her house, causing the blonde to fall into a hole and end up in Lala's room. While hiding, she decides to take pictures, but her clumsiness triggers the emergency escape in the room. They both go flying at high speed, causing the doors to open, and the blonde falls from a great height. Lala, of course, wouldn't let anything happen to her and manages to save her. But when she wakes up, she finds herself in the middle of the street again, naked. Well, this waifu likes to be more without clothes than with them. While in a biology class like any other day, a loud noise shakes the building, an explosion that apparently no one heard, but okay. Apparently, a space assassin had arrived, and this alien had the intention to abduct Lala because, as it turns out, he's in love with her. The guy wants to get intimate with her, but he has been rejected on more than one occasion. Since he has gathered information about her, he knows that Rito is her fiancé, and that, in turn, this virgin wants Tio be close to Haruna. So, the scoundrel disguises himself as the principal in order to call Haruna as if she had done something wrong, only to capture her and use these cables for, well, to arouse the viewers. But while the alien was up to his shenanigans, Lala wanted to get into the protagonist's head. Yes, you heard that right, the fair-skinned girl wanted to knife him to get to know his deeper feelings. She was being literal, folks. Anyway, the protagonist's buddy comes to warn him that the old pervert was with Haruna acting a bit strange. Lala stays busy playing around with the buddy while Rito arrives at the storage room. Obviously, like any human, anyone would freak out when they see such a creature, although the protagonist's eyes were focused on the plot behind him. Lala, getting fed up with waiting for Rito, she decides to look for him, and upon finding him and seeing the alien, she tells Rito that this is one of the suitors who won't stop pursuing her. Apparently, the guy has been rejected more times than you can imagine, but he doesn't give up easily. Since Lala doesn't want to marry him, the guy gets really mad with intentions of beating up the protagonist, but as Rito thinks he saw Tama, he tries to throw a punch at him until the alien gives up. Wait, how? It turns out that it was all a facade. The creature was actually a cute little thing from a planet of a weak race. However, this guy has a large number of wives and children who are coming to give him a thrashing for trying to be a ladies' man on Earth. But this little guy wasn't the only suitor. Coincidentally, a handsome white-haired dude transfers to the school. This guy is Ren, a childhood friend of Lala who has always been in love with her. The problem is that despite his childhood being quite traumatic and full of beatings, courtesy of Lala, the guy has always wanted her to acknowledge that he's a real man. However, the waifu still sees him as a crybaby. The angry guy decided to start training to surpass Rito. He watched the Rocky Balboa movie, and with that, he gets super pumped, undergoes intense training, fights with the Yakuza, beats up big guys, and runs over 120 kilometers. There, Rito asks Lala to please tell him that he's a man so that the guy stops bothering him with all this. Lala agrees, and in a prepared ceremony where supposedly 3 years have already passed, the guy finishes his marathon. Just when she's about to tell him how manly he is, Ren sneezes, which turns him into a sultry lady. Wait, what happened? It turns out that Ren belongs to a special race that has the ability to change their form with a simple sneeze. In other words, when he's a woman, he has a different mentality than when he's a man, meaning that male Arien couldn't hear what Lala was going to say. In a change of scene, we meet the student council president Yui, who is a bit angry with Lala, the blonde, Run, and Haruna because it turns out that early in the morning, there's a wild and scandalous situation going on. D3MON, as this blonde girl shows up in a super revealing latex outfit that gets everyone's heart racing. Run arrives to try to kiss the protagonist because apparently her hormones are raging, and in an argument they have, Lala ends up naked. As a result of all this, Yui decides to create a disciplinary council where boys are not allowed to have conversations with girls at any time. Additionally, Rito ends up isolated for having put his face in Yui's pillows, so she thought that with Rito isolated, things would get better. But she realizes that it's not the case because Lala and the others continue to do crazy things that leave them naked. After classes, Yui chases after a depressed Rito, but she also realizes that he has a good heart because he not only helps an old lady cross the street, but also assists a person who had an accident, fixes some flowers, and decides to find the lost mother of a little girl. At that moment, Yui is completely smitten by the kindness of the protagonist, and well, everything between them was getting resolved until suddenly the protagonist takes OFF running with Yui in his arms. But what the heck is happening? Well, Lala and the others had planned a meeting to lift Rito's spirits, so with a device that seems to be a magnet, she attracts him from very far away to wherever she is. Come on, what could the magnet be attracting? Suspicious. But here, the problems don't end. Apparently, another guy wants to show Lala the otter. This flying blonde guy landed on Earth a couple of days ago, and when he finally meets Lala, the waifu hardly remembers him. The guy is in the middle of a speech and suddenly takes OFF for no apparent reason, which makes them think he's gone. However, he was planning a surprise attack on Rito. Lala saves him by tossing him into the air and then, while being kidnapped, damages the blonde guy's flight device. Since the protagonist has been feeling unwell lately, he goes to the infirmary where a gorgeous doctor appears, and damn, why weren't there doctors like that in my school? Mikado treats him, and back at home, the blonde guy returns once again to cause trouble as usual. Lala kicks him away, and when the guy is already desperate, he encounters Zaston, who, upon seeing him in terrible shape, gives him strange directions. By following the steps exactly, he arrives at a space medical office that is attended by Mikado. Wait, what? Yes, apparently these melons are also from space. In any case, the waifu helps him. And when the protagonist, feeling unwell again, waits for Mikado in the infirmary, the blonde guy arrives to feint Lala, capture the protagonist, and leave as if nothing had happened. But he didn't expect Mikado Tio arrive angry because he was interfering in her work area. So, after being mummified and sent to his home planet, the redhead reveals that there are already many aliens on planet Earth. They simply hide among the humans and don't raise any suspicions. That's why she's there, to help visitors from outer space who wouldn't have any medical assistance on Earth. One day, while Rito was shopping for the household, he encounters a beautiful blonde who can't stop staring at him. Those crimson eyes and gothic style leave him mesmerized. The girl was looking at what he was eating, so like any guy, he approaches her to flirt, saying, "Here you go, Miss Tio, delight your palate." When she tastes the delicious candy, she is delighted and quickly rewards him with a fast kiss. Wait, what? Without thinking, the blonde starts to go all out as she was hired to execute the protagonist for being the most ruthless demon to ever set foot in the universe. Rito doesn't understand what the heck is happening, so when he's cornered, Zaston arrives to protect him along with Lala. In a very random way, the one with the plot arrives. I mean, Professor Mikado, to inform them that this curvy lady is known as Golden Darkness, and then she leaves, saying that if they need medical attention, she'll be available. The thing is, the idiot Zaston falls into a sewer, and the curvy lady finally has a clear path to fight. And I forgot to tell you, the waifu has the ability to transform any part of her body into a weapon. Lala decides to be her opponent, and both women engage in a fairly even duel. In the middle of the fight, Lala calls this curvy lady Yami and asks her if she really wants to eliminate a guy who's a dumbass but quite kind-hearted. At that moment, Yami remembers what Rito did when they first met, so she starts to doubt whether to do her job or not. An alien arrives, and this little creature is the reason why Yami wants to get rid of the protagonist. The thing is, it comes to light that everything the creature told her was a lie, so Yami gets angry because, in her terms as an assassin, the person who hires her is forbidden to lie in the information they provide. The angry creature summons a huge frog that spits acid, which obviously gives us tempting moments, with Lala being a UFF 10/10. Anyway, since the protagonist intervenes in the battle and gives the creature a good beating, Lala seizes the moment to deliver a combo of punches that sends him back home. Yami apologizes for treating them poorly, and since Lala told her she was cute, the girl blushes and decides to stay on Earth, supposedly to keep an eye on Rito. Well, the protagonist's school days are getting hotter and hotter. For some strange reason, the waifus in the middle of of class start getting naked, and well, things happen that might make any viewer take a quick bathroom break. While at home, Zastan tells him something very important in secret. It turns out that King Devluk gave him a call in which he mentioned that he had been causing trouble on a planet, and since he's near the solar system, he'll pay a little visit to Earth to meet his future son-in-law, who is also expected to be his successor. So Zastan tells the protagonist to keep his hormones in check and not hang out with too many waifus, because the king could be watching him at any moment. But since this guy has a magnet for awkward situations, he's constantly getting into trouble with the girls. Yami even shows up at the school with the intention of giving him a hard time, but just as a strong unexpected breeze appears, the waifu experiences a skirt lift, which embarrasses her and makes her leave. But anyway, the protagonist receives a call from Mikado to meet on the rooftop. While in that place, this hottie starts teasing the protagonist. The girl gets really turned on, and when she's about to kiss him, she faints. This little guy shows up and his voice sounds familiar. The guy is disappointed that the protagonist is acting like a crazy horn dog with all the girls, which is not ideal for his daughter Lala. Wait, daughter? This seemingly harmless fellow is King Devluk. The protagonist, like all of us, thinks he's an idiot, but since the old man is furious with Rito, he grabs him by the neck and plans to destroy the entire planet along with him. However, Rito stops his hand and won't let go. His determination to protect everyone makes the king see that this kid has some potential. Of course, Lala shows up and tells her father to stop messing around, but the guy gives the protagonist a huge challenge. Tio become the #1 man in the universe. If he can't do it within a few months, he'll return to destroy the entire planet. Well, becoming the #1 man in the universe was quite challenging until, in the middle of a sports class, Zastan lands in the pool. The girls are impressed, but in a way, they accept that Lala is an alien due to her tail and the way she doesn't understand things. Zastan was there because a distant visitor was coming to hold a kind of tournament, and Lala had to be present as the ambassador of Devluk. Earth would be the location for the tournament, so 2 Earth representatives would have to participate. In this case, it would be Rito and Haruna. Once they get dressed up and have a dance, the protagonist overhears this guy saying that the tournament is to award the title of the best hunter in the universe. That's when it clicks in his mind. If he wins the competition, he will be the only famous hunter in the universe, which could help convince Lala's father, and the destruction of Earth would be stopped. The protagonist decides to participate, and the event takes place in the Amazon in an underground cave where they can't use technology. They have to hunt in the old-fashioned way with arrows, spears, and axes. Rito ends up being chased by a dinosaur that ends up battling the enormous Kong, a gorilla that falls in love with Haruna and ends up taking her as a hostage. The protagonist tries to save her, but obviously he doesn't stand a chance. However, some Amazon women witnessed how manly the protagonist was, so they make a deal with Kong. The ape takes the damsel, and they keep the protagonist to test out the tremendous spear he's packing between his legs. Excuse me? Well, just as Rito was about to be violated by these totally seductive women, we see that Lala appears to help him. However, her help is ineffective because as soon as they touch her tail, the waifu becomes weakened. By some miracle, Haruna manages to control the ape, and with his help, they can save everyone. She ends up being the winner of the tournament and the best hunter in the universe after controlling Kong and destroying the Amazon tribe. Well, sometimes when you plan something, it turns out totally differently. As the days go by, a rumor circulates in the school. Apparently, strange voices and noises have been heard in the old school building. This catches the attention of Lala and the other girls, so they decide to go investigate what the heck is happening at that place. Rito, Lala, Haruna, and the others arrive at the house, where not only does the door open on its own, but once inside, the lock relocks as if someone had closed it. Strange noises are heard coming from the library. Haruna, frightened, clings tightly to her friend while Rito tries to be the man of the place. He heads to the door and leaps over the creature that comes out, although apparently that monster has a strange, moldable softness in her chest. Damn, it's the blonde. Yami tells them she's just a perverted old man and gives him a punch. She was there because she had an interest in the ancient books in the library. The president quickly appears to scold them for fooling around in that area. Suddenly, voices are heard, the floor breaks, and they enter a dark corridor where a piano chases them. Terror engulfs them, and when they escape from all the strange things happening, a huge creature appears that captures Lala and Yami. In a desperate attempt, Haruna takes the protagonist and uses him as a bat. Yes, as you heard it, the girl used the protagonist as a weapon to strike the creature, causing it to separate, revealing that they were many aliens who had been exiled from their lands. With no place to live, they arrived on the planet and took over that abandoned place, the only place where they could be at peace. Furthermore, the ghost who lives there is already fed up with them disturbing her sleep, but don't worry because the amazing Mommy Mikado solves the problem by getting them jobs at an alien bar that was built just a few days ago. Okay, everything was calm, but Rito couldn't stay so relaxed knowing that he has to be number one in something. Mikado calls him because a guy came to visit. This alien is responsible for promoting the best hotels in the universe, hotels exclusively for aliens. There used to be a tremendous hotel on Earth that, for unknown reasons, was closed down. As a result, space visitors, once they set foot on the planet, have to disguise themselves and try to blend in, which proves to be quite challenging. That's why they want to build or locate a place where they can create the number one hotel on the planet. This guy comes up with the brilliant idea of using the old school. Mikado, with her tremendous thighs and a highly arousing view, convinces the director to give permission to use that area. Rito and Lala decide to renovate the place with the help of Zaston and the others, and the old school is transformed into a new hotel for aliens. Customers quickly arrive and they have a pleasant time. Among them are two giant females who request special attention, and Rito must help them wash their huge backs. However, despite having customers, the business was slow. Once they left, they had no one else to offer their services to. At one point, a small guy, a kind of samurai, arrives and informs them that more than 10 men are coming and that he needs a huge room. Lala takes them to their room, and when they bring them tea, our waifu notices that they had a map of her planet. It turns out that these guys lived on a planet that was destroyed by King Deviluk. So, in a quest for revenge, they were teaming up with other warriors who suffered the same fate to try to destroy the Deviluk planet. Lala reveals her identity, causing the guys to go berserk, and Zaston appears to defend his waifu. Chaos erupts in the hotel, with even Yami dressed as a maid showing up to defend the princess. As always, Lala pulls out one of her inventions, a device that doesn't work properly, and the hotel ends up exploding, taking away Rito's hope of becoming number one. As the days go by, it's time for fan service. Well, we've already had quite a bit of fan service, but this one is special because it's the cultural festival where the protagonist's friend comes up with the brilliant idea of creating an animal cafe. There, the waifus get flirty Tio take their measurements and then create very flirty cosplays that would attract the crowd. While they were making preparations, Yami wandered the streets in search of a job, but not just any job, she wanted a job as an assassin. Obviously, she never finds any work, and the next morning when the festival begins, one of the students falls ill. The gothic bunny costume becomes available, and by a twist of fate, Yami arrives looking for a job. They put her in the bunny suit, and now the fan service begins for all those virgins who want to have some quality time. After that day, Lala wakes up somewhat different. Her way of speaking is calmer, she blushes at everything. Basically, she's the shy girl that every man would like to have. But despite Rito being quite interested in this Lala, something didn't add up. So he takes her to Mikado, where she tells him that the princess has reverse fever, a space fever that cannot be transmitted to Earthlings. The problem with this fever is that it changes Lala's personality every night that it lasts. So while they wait for the vaccine to arrive, Lala goes through various phases until she reaches one that seems to be the most dangerous. She becomes a military leader from the planet Deviluk, basically acting as the queen and deciding to conquer Earth for her beloved husband. She creates machines to attack humanity, with each general being one of her friends. Haruna is there because she went to help Rito, and the other random people are basically there because they wanted a specific continent for themselves. Well, since the vaccine was already on its way, Rito tries to stall for time so that she wouldn't carry out the attack. The robots start fighting among themselves due to the conflicting orders from the commanders. In the midst of the chaos, Yami arrives with the vaccine, where Zaston tries to stop her. The protagonist takes the vaccine, but when he's going up the stairs, he gets caught. Time was running out, and the launch of the robots was inevitable until Rito finally lets out his true feelings for Lala, saying that he loves her and wants the normal Lala back. For some reason, the princess returns to normal without needing to take the medicine. But the problems don't end there, as the king of Deviluk appears to take his daughter and destroy Earth once and for all. By orders of the king, Zaston is sent to inform the protagonist about the next game they will play. Rito must reach the ship of King Deviluk before nightfall. If he fails to arrive on time, he will lose the game, and Earth will be destroyed. Obviously, the path will be filled with very difficult obstacles, so he will have to figure out a way to reach his destination. Mikado arrives to encourage our protagonist, who is depressed in his room. There, the waifu Bam takes OFF her clothes and proceeds to heat things up, or well, I wish it had been like that. She simply gives him encouragement and tells him that under no circumstances should he allow Earth to be destroyed because she likes living there. His friends also give him encouragement, and even his parents, who are traveling, support him. Everyone believes that he can do it because, well, the king said he had no intentions of invading, he just would evaporate us all if this guy doesn't make it. Rito, after having a chat with Haruna, becomes even more motivated, so at 6 a.m., the game begins. Rito runs through the city where he is attacked by some seeds, which instantly sprout into vines. Once they capture their target, they don't let go until nightfall. Rito dodges them skillfully, but when he's almost about to be captured, the president appears in Mikado's car, since she deduced that Rito could receive help from anyone because the rules rules didn't stipulate that Rito couldn't have help. He simply has to reach the ship. Despite traveling at high speed in a car, the road is destroyed, preventing them from continuing on land. The blonde appears Tio helped them with her helicopter, but the journey lasts a short time as they are attacked by some strange seeds that cause them to fall at great speed, only to be saved by Yami and her enormous hair. They continue on foot, escaping various attacks where the girls decide to fight against the gelatinous enemies. And I don't know why, but I have a slight feeling that clothes are going to be shredded to pieces here. Yami throws the protagonist far ahead to continue while they stay behind to fight. When they are very close to the finish line, the final test is a lustful dream that any man would desire. Faced with this dream, the protagonist chooses T.O.B. with both bombshells, Lala and Haruna. Both of them are willing to marry him, but obviously he knows that this cannot happen. When Haruna shouts his name from a distance, he wakes up and Rito runs with everything he's got, reaching the finish line at the last moment. The king of Deviluk congratulates him for being such a man, and without wasting any time, the wedding begins. Everyone applauds with joy, but Lala knows that Rito was never truly happy from the beginning. All of this was practically her fault because she was the one who wanted to get married. So, as the princess she is, she prefers Tio renounce the wedding, canceling the engagement. However, this could lead to a possible war, so she decides to use one of her artifacts to erase everyone's memories. That way, they would not remember her, Earth would be saved, and she could start a new life there. But what she didn't expect was that when she entered the hall, everyone remembered her as none of her artifacts have ever worked during her time on Earth. So Lala's life starts over again, where this time Rito will have to decide who to be with and the marriage will finally not be forced. Although if both accept being his waifus, IT would be the best deal. If you want more naughty anime, comment the word sexy and tell me your favorite part of the series, and with that, I'll look for another similar anime that might interest you.